Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, I got a super fun and exciting video for you guys today, because I'm taking a look at Xfinium's new demo for Castlevania, remade completely for the Sega Master System. Even though this thing is not finished, it is still just a beta. To say this thing is a masterclass and just what you can get out of retro gaming hardware in 2026 would be an understatement. The graphics, the sound, the music, the gameplay from start to finish, straight up incredible and super impressive. And this has that classic sprite style that you know, love, and remember from the Castlevania franchise. Because when I talked about Castlevania Belmonts Curse, basically 50% of the commenters on that video hated the art style, and about 10% of them yelled at me personally for Konami having done that. I'm not sure if you guys get confused or not, but I do not work for Konami. If you're mad at the Japanese multinational corporation, just go yell at them, not me, because I do not work at Konami again. But if they do want to send me checks for making these videos, I can definitely send them my address. But all jokes aside, this sort of stuff absolutely just does it for me, because Castlevania is still in my top 5 favorite franchises of all time, and anything new Castlevania I'm definitely going to play. And seeing Xfinium bring this over to the Sega Master System as both a stock as well as an enhanced version, it's just a ton of fun. Now do be aware that some of the enemies are going to be missing, and there really aren't any boss fights in this build, but as far as a basis or blueprint as to what's to come next, I would say this is straight up just 20 out of 10 stuff. Do be aware that when you get hit with a knockback there though, you're not restarting the level, you actually just pop back into the world, which actually is a really nice touch. Because one of those things, knockback deaths, definitely part of Castlevania, but they would also drive you nuts when you had a really good run going, and then you basically were 1 pixel too late in a jump, and you would end up dead with no control over your actual character. But I would say so far, I absolutely love the graphical style, because seeing Castlevania on the Master System, the rich colors and everything else just 100% give me that Castlevania vibe that I need. You can leave me a comment down below and you tell me, as far as the vibes are concerned so far, how do you feel about them? Because the graphical stylings in the Castlevania franchise have definitely been a hot topic lately. You will see there that the giant bat did not show up, just the orb for defeating him did, and basically you can move on to the next level. And you even have the map incorporated here as well, showing you where you're going next in the end, where you will fight Dracula in his upper keep. And I totally get that this game exists on other platforms, but having another version of Castlevania to play, especially one that's this impressive even in its in development stages, is just so much fun. Because the reality is, all the different ports and ROM hacks I do videos for on the channel don't technically need to exist. There isn't any quote-unquote reason for them, because we can play the game. But that sort of thing disappoints me. We should be happy and celebrate we get all of these new amazing things, because Xfinium here has just done a 10 out of 10 job with this build so far. And I do love, again, you fall in the pit, you just phase back through the ceiling and you can move on, not really even losing any life in the process. But I can't wait to see this one continue, and it makes me really think what else could be done with the Sega Master System, because it is one of those platforms I play new games as it comes out, but I didn't grow up with it and I don't have as much nostalgia for it as other people did. Leave me a comment down below. Did you have a Master System back in the day? Do you own one now, and do you collect for it? Because it's one of those things, I definitely do own it, but I don't really have a huge collection. And you will see there, with your ability to phase through the ceiling when you fall through the floor, you can absolutely cheese the ever-loving hell out of this build, basically skipping entire rooms and screens just by kind of traversing in a way that only a game like Portal could allow you to, which is to say phasing in and out of existence and using that to your advantage. But that kind of is fun, and it does show that there are some different things going on here with Xfinium's port of Castlevania to the Master System. But again, this thing is going to live or die by its overall feel. I played around with this in the background, but big thanks to Andy D for helping with the capture on this, and I will say it feels like Castlevania. Sure, it isn't complete, sure the bosses are missing, but with the controller in your hand just playing around, you'd be hard-pressed to think that you weren't playing the exact one-to-one version of the game that you played on NES, except for the fact that it looks and sounds completely different. And speaking of sound, we're going to go into the first of 2 soundtrack samples, because of course, it's going to be familiar music, but it's going to be coming out of the Sega Master System hardware, not the NES. So go ahead and listen for like 45 seconds or so, catch the vibes, hear the differences, but I'll be back to talk more about this build and why I'm excited. I mean, it sounds exactly like the Castlevania music you know, love, and remember, but also sounds completely different because it is coming out of completely different hardware. And this is definitely an overall game I will cover more in the future when more things actually get added in, because I want to see the bosses and everything else going on here. And if you're wondering why you're airwalking across something that just doesn't exist, again, this is a work in progress. It is just a demo of what's coming soon. So if you see anything happening in the game that doesn't make much sense, that is because it is incomplete. But I always have space on the channel to talk about these fun new things, basically giving developers a little bit of a spotlight to show just how much fun the fan community is having out there. Because the reality is there's hundreds upon hundreds of projects that basically release every single week, and me even picking and choosing which one I want to talk about can be an absolute chore in and of itself. And you'll see here, just like an infinite loop and portal, you can basically just traverse the fourth dimension, moving around the game board to your heart's content. And I'm sure that's something that is going to be removed from the final version of the game, and I would love to have it in there in some sort of speedrun mode, where you can basically phase in and out of the fourth dimension, or maybe even the 69th dimension, to be able to clear screens a little bit quicker. It's one of those things I always love, kind of just breaking a game and seeing how far you can push it in ways developers both intended and didn't intend. And even though I don't do speedruns in my real life, it is something, if I feel like watching a YouTube video, oftentimes I'll watch a speedrun of one of my favorite games just to see it played about as well as you can. You'll see there that room is completely empty. There are no enemies whatsoever, but definitely check this one out. I have left a link in the description below to the forum where it's listed on, and go and have some fun with it. And I will say, as far as the graphics are concerned, I think this absolutely is a very good and faithful conversion of the original game to the Sega Master System hardware. Of course, things are definitely going to look slightly different because the hardware is slightly different. Obviously, that is an understatement compared to NES, but that is where a lot of the fun in these projects come, and that is where I think a lot of the difficulty can lie in some developers, but in Xfinium's example here did not have an issue with whatsoever. There is a lot of difficulty in getting the overall feel of the game and the code converted over so that it's running correctly, but the vibe, the visuals, the sounds, and the colors that you see here, those really are what make up a game like Castlevania or any other retro game. If it doesn't look good, if it doesn't sound good, if it doesn't play good, it doesn't matter if it's running on a different platform. Not many people are going to enjoy it whatsoever, but Xfinium is nailing the brief here. Everything looks, feels, and sounds like Castlevania, outside of the fact that obviously there's some areas in which there's going to be missing enemies and we don't have any bosses. So hopefully the next time this thing does update, I will do a video if there's some bosses in there that I can showcase out. Because right now it definitely is easy mode. You don't really take any damage, you don't have any falling deaths, and for a lot of the instance you can just walk by enemies. And you will see here the sprite color on these night guards with the shields not looking exactly as it should. But again, I love talking about how games get made and showing you guys examples of stuff that is in development. Will you tell me down below what you're seeing right now? Is this something you'd be interested in playing or not? Let's go to the second of two soundtrack samples because again, the music is incredible, and I'll be right back with just a little bit more. And there's something about the little bit of static there and a little bit more bass and muffled audio of the Castlevania soundtrack coming out of Sega Master System hardware that I think actually gives it a way more analog vibe and a little bit more grunge to it. But you leave a comment down below and you tell me if you're into the sound or not. But it's stuff like this. Castlevania is such an incredibly popular franchise, and it is coming back from Konami. Getting more Castlevania ROM hacks, getting more conversions of different hardware, and even getting new games definitely helps Castlevania stay alive in basically everyone's consciousness. Because I've been playing Castlevania since before I almost have memories at this point in time, and I hope I'm playing new Castlevania games, both mainline from Konami, as well as fan conversions and ROM hacks until I'm 80 years old. And hopefully I even make it that far because I do live in the Midwest, and our life expectation here is like 71 years old, so I am definitely past halftime, and that is a weird thing to think about. But short of that, have fun with this one. The link's in the description below. If you played it, leave me your thoughts down below, and I'll see you guys next time. If you're wondering why the clock tower is idle, I guess time doesn't exist here, nor does falling death, because you can phase in and out dimensions. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.